Well, hello one all, welcome back to the Perfect Podcast. I kind of feel like I should be in Canada gear for this, but this fucking heat wave is just... This room has not been livable since Friday, okay? So you can't say I don't suffer from my art, alright? But, oh god. Okay, so, speaking of hot stuff, literally hot off the press, we now have, finally, the confirmation of something that I think, you know what, we all saw it coming. That is both Gina Kingsbury and Troy Ryan will not be returning to Team Canada on the national side. That is another team to put your bingo cards that will have a completely different personnel behind the bench. We get to the World Championships in Denmark on November 6th. Now, we kind of all saw this a bit coming, because ever since the end of Narcotics, ever since we got back from Narcotics, there's been a lot of, gossip being thrown around, a lot of speculation on the socials about the possibility that both Troy Ryan and Gina Kingsbury were going to go. Now, Troy Ryan, I think not long after Narcotics, made it very, very clear that he thought, yeah, it's time for somebody else to have a go and take his decision as coach. But Gina Kingsbury, she's kind of been more like, well, it all depends on what Hockey Canada wants to do, isn't it? If they feel that I can still be a part of the One Nation, I'll still come back. So she's kind of like, she's kind of doing the party's answer there. I'm like, Gina, come on, be straight with us. Either you're coming back or you're not coming back. But yeah. So it's going to be interesting because a lot of that roster was made by Gina Kingsbury. Her prints are all over that roster. Especially it had quite a heavy amount of Scepter's players in there. So, yeah. So I kind of not really surprised by the move. And I kind of felt this move needed to happen for Canada. Because Canada, at the end of the year, Canada was where USA were at the end of Beijing. Had such high hopes. You went into that tour with a lot of momentum, and it just didn't go your way. And then what Team USA did was brilliantly went away and looked up what needs to change, and they made those changes, and oh boy, it worked! So, 2023 and 2025 won the World Championships. We didn't lose a single game to Canada. Canada did not win a single game against us in the rivalry series this past season. And then, of course, we won both games against Canada, World Championships 2025. And obviously, in Argentina, it was pretty much no contest, especially after that group match. It was like, hoo-hoo! Yeah. So, you kind of looked at Canada, and you kind of felt that something needed to change. But Canada kind of was doing that stubborn approach, Because, really, the opportunity to change things came after the rivalry series. The rivalry series was wrapped up in December, and if you check out the episodes for season 3, when we did recap the months of November and December, the Peter show, because the season for Frost, Lady did come on to talk about the rivalry series, and she basically said to me that she felt Canada needed to do something, but she couldn't really put up on what. Not surprising, given how nobody in the trio supports Canada. Oh, you want a burger? She's got right, she's got a burger. Hello. She's coming over. Hi guys. Yeah, so I kind of was very, very, very harsh of Canada in the rivalry series, but that's because I wanted to see a competitive series. I wanted to see both USA and Canada go head to head and just show competitive, and it wasn't there. Remember the rivalry series, Canada was outscored 24-7. Jeez. Yeah, it was no contest. So, it's really interesting what direction Canada goes. Because the obvious approach would be to make Corey Chevrolet the natural successor. Yeah. And I think that's probably why she didn't really get Checky. Checky did approach her, but it didn't really go far. And I think because of what's going to happen next. Yeah, but is that too easy? Is that too easy because she was part of that bench staff the last few years, where it's all gone wrong for Canada? So would it be? Yeah, but she's just recently coached the team for the World Cup, so she'd argue, well, yeah, I know, well, I know. Yeah, but I mean, the moment that Canada should have changed something should have been after the Survivor Series, and they didn't. They went to Argentina, basically how they went into the Survivor Series, and they rightly so did badly. I mean, I think we all agree that Canada won that goal in Argentina, we would all be just, having words. We just wouldn't be as gracious as we probably would have been in any other Olympic cycle. Yeah, that agreed. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So it's interesting to see what happens. Yeah, but the Survivor Series was a huge telltale sign that it's not looking good for Canada. No, it's not looking good for Canada. So yeah, just make the most of it. Are you surprised? No, I'm not surprised. But I'm kind of. And you've been saying how these two are kind of like a tag team, the pair, tandem even. If one was to go, the other would go, unless one chose to. Yeah, I've been saying with the Scepters organisation that I would not see Troy Ryan getting fired by Gina Kingsbury. The only way Troy Ryan would go is if he chose to go, which of course he had done. Society, of all teams, yeah. But I'm not surprised, and I'm really glad they changed the name. So it's like, yeah, you are hanging there. Can't you welcome up to those else, please do. Yeah, so I've got no towels, that's why I'm going to do that. But yeah, so I think it's a good move to do this now. Let's go for, if you're going to make the change, then why not go for a fresh start, clean slate, clear out the dead wood, and go for something new. But is Corey Chevrolet new though? Because I think a lot of us are going to assume that Corey Chevrolet is going to be the natural successor, the heir apparent to Troy Ryan, and I would not be surprised if that happens quite quickly. But you just wonder, she was his assistant coach in La Cortina, so she was part of that bench staff that ultimately saw Canada get silver instead of the gold, and Canada, as we all saw in La Cortina, just was not on fine form whatsoever. Now, if I can, come on. If I can just cut in, yeah, there you go. You're on. Okay, if I just cut in, I think this is probably one of the worst performances we've seen from Canada in the 5 Olympics that George has been involved in. Now, of course, I wasn't here for 2010. I was here from 2013 onwards. Now, I felt that this roster of Canada was not at its best. And a lot of them did not play to the best of their abilities. And that's largely due to the moves that Gina Kingsbury made with this roster. Yeah, I say it already, lady. That a lot of her paw prints are all over that roster that went to La Cortina. Yeah, so she is heavily responsible for pretty much all of those moves, and none of them really benefited the team as a whole. And Canada really struggled. I mean, the fact that Switzerland at the end of their semi-final said that this team was beatable, I think that pretty much said it all. Yeah. I think that pretty much just said everything you need to know about Canada's performance in 2026 at the Olympics. That pretty much said everything you need to know. And just disastrous, I mean, because let's face it, Canada nearly got knocked out like that semi-final. Yeah. I mean, Switzerland, they really gave Canada a good run for money, and if it hadn't been for, and if Canada hadn't got it to a 2-0 lead, and Switzerland made it 1-1, would we then go to overtime? Would Switzerland manage to find a most successful goal from Alina Muller, knock out Canada, and cause another great upset in Italy? Yeah, because remember, of course, 20 years ago was the great upset of the US being knocked out of the semis by Sweden. Yeah. And you can imagine what we all felt when the matchups were confirmed. We were like, yeah, oh no, we got Sparrier. Oh no, oh no. Crack open the sodas, lady. Oh, on it. Crack open the sodas. We're gonna need them. Oh, no, not Sparrier. Anyone but Sparrier. Oh, God, it's Sparrier. Yeah, so I think when it comes to who's going to take over from Troy Ryan, it's kind of fairly obvious. You're looking at Kingsbury for the Montreal Victoire as Carly as the natural successor, and that's fine. The question is, though, who's going to come in to replace Kingsbury? Because that is not an easy task. Now, that is not going to be an easy task to try and come in and find someone who can replace Kingsbury like that. And of course, whoever does take over is going to have so much pressure on them. Because when you get to Denmark, it would be 8 in a row, lady. Last year's World Championships, 4 Rugby Series games. Yeah, 8. It's currently 8. It's currently 8-0 in all international competitions for America. And it could potentially go to 10-0 if Canada does not perform well. Well, actually, we're in different groups. Oh, of course, yes! So it could be 9-0. Yeah. Of course, I forgot. It's bloody heat. It's bloody heat. Yeah. Yeah, because obviously Canada, USA for the first time quite a while are in separate groups. We're in Group A and Canada are in Group B. Welcome, lady. Yeah, we have already done an episode explaining the new format for the World Championships. And over the next coming weeks, me and George will be doing team previews in the run-up to Denmark. And we're going to use each nation's previous international tournament as the baseline for those previews. Yes, so they'll be coming out very soon. Yeah, I think we'll wait till after the. Yeah, we'll wait. Yeah, because obviously we still got the entry draft to come. Yeah, and the expansion process. So we're waiting until after the entry draft on June 17th. Before we start those team previews. And the idea is we're probably going to do it one a week, or depending on when we've got more, because we've got 10 to do. So maybe the 10 weeks before Denmark. Yeah. That's the plan. If we do 2 a week, it's fine, but I did want to do 1. Yeah. So we're gonna. Yeah. No, so it could potentially be 9-0 by the end of this year. Now that would be bad. No, that would be bad for Canada. No. But can I ask you, lady? Can I ask you? Do you see how I see about the pressure that's going to face this? I think for any GM coming in to try and take over, it's going to be really tough, especially on the national scene. And for Canada, the pressure's even on more because this is a team that you should see as a powerhouse. Now, Canada has before in the past not made the Goldman match. Of course, 2019 is the perfect example how Finland, of course, got in. We know what happened there. Yes. Oh yes, Test of Virginia loads of miles about 2019. They love to miles about 2019. They love to do that. Yeah, so I feel pressure's gonna be on whoever does get named. They're gonna feel so much pressure. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because Canada's now got to have a new coach and a new GM come in for November. Tough. I mean, obviously, Czechia and Sweden have got new coaches, but their GMs are still in place, so they know what moves they need to make sure they've got a good team for the World. But all Canada, that pressure's now really on them. It is really on them. It is. It is. Because Canada really hasn't really been the same since Beijing, and that was only 4 years ago. It's crazy, isn't it? How 4 years ago Canada was still seen as a top dog, and now they are really struggling. Because obviously 2023-25 they did not perform well in the World Championships, and then obviously in this year's Olympics they were not on top form. They really struggled, and I don't think that was a result of the fact that obviously their opening group match against Finland has to be moved. Oh, no. If anybody wants to try and use that as an excuse, then you're barking up the wrong tree. Because their first game as one ended up then being against Switzerland. And Switzerland, for a good majority of that game, kept Canada at bay. They managed to get through a whole period without giving up a goal to Canada. And did it again in the semis. Yeah. So really, you can't use that as an excuse because Switzerland was the Canada's first player and they did quite well for the majority of the game. Exactly. Exactly. And of course, Switzerland after the semi-final matchup said they were beatable. So let's not use what happened to Finland as an excuse why Canada's fallen off the wayside. This decline, this downhill performance happened long before we got to Milano Cortina. But I think what Milano Cortina has done is it's opened people's eyes up and go, sound the warning alarm. DEFCON 1! DEFCON 1! We're in DEFCON 1, Madame Messieurs! DEFCON 1! Yeah. God, yeah. That's just remind me of the opening to Santa Claus 2. Oh, of course, I was only 10 at the time. Or maybe, no, not 10. When did Santa Claus 2 come out? Early noughties. Maybe 2002? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was 10 when sorry, I mixed up with Santa Clauses. No, sorry. I was 10 when the third film came out. That's what's happened here. That's what's happened. No, sorry, I was 10 when the third Santa Claus film came out, and of course that was what we saw for the Animal Key Stage 2 Christmas cinema trip. Oh, was it? Yeah. Yeah. Year 3 it was Lion Witch of the Wardrobe, which I technically saw beforehand, so Year 4 it was Santa Claus 3. That would have been 10 at the time. Then Year 5 was the B movie, which was complete and utter crap. And then Year 6, it was going to be Madagascar 2, but I was ill the week of the annual Christmas trip, so I had to take the whole week off. Yes, Pluto told me has told me you got ill a lot during Year 6. I did. Okay, I don't know what happened. But I ended up getting a lot of time off in Year 6 of illness. I had one in the week of the Christmas trip. Yeah, the annual Christmas cinema trip from Key Stage 2. Key Stage 1 got a party. Yeah. In my primary school, Key Stage 1 at Christmas time, Key Stage 1 got a party, and Key Stage 2 got to go to the cinema. Yeah, so it was back in the days when at Christmas time there would be a kids film out that we appropriate please go and watch it over the Christmas period. Not these days. No, these days more towards Thanksgiving. Yeah. No, yeah, so and I also got a nasty illness that was doing the rounds. It wasn't just me, a lot of people during the springtime. So this was the run up to SATs. A lot of people during that point were off sick, and the bug made its way to me. And I was off for 4 days because by the Friday it had cleared up, and because it was springtime, we were getting close to SATs. I went back in, and everyone was so surprised I went back in. I know. It's like, no, it was almost like I just walked in having committed murder. This was long before the traitors, guys. This was 2009. This was long before the tracers, okay? There's like, people were so sure I committed. I was like, I was feeling better, I was cleared. I'm not going to pull a sickie just for the sake of it. If it was high school, I would have, because I hated high school, but not primary school. I was fine at primary school. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I feel with Canada, so we messed it. Canada guy went to college, we messed up, no. Santa Claus 3 was when I was 10 years old, and Santa Claus 2 might have been 4 years before that. Maybe that, yeah, roughly. It's 2002. Yeah, Pluto's just confirmed. Was it definitely 2002, boy? Right, there you go, 2002. That's 8 years after the first one. The first one was before I was born. The first one was 1994. So, did you ever get around to finishing the TV series? I did the first season, but still haven't got around to the second season. I might try and get around to that this year. We'll see. Okay. I was a bit let down by the TV series, to be honest, really. But, hey-ho. Anyway. Plus, we all thought the TV series was going to be a one-off. We never thought it was going to make a season 2. Anyway. But no, so Canada literally are basically DEFCON 1 right now. We will see what happens when we get close to the Worlds in November, because obviously November 6th when the Worlds will start, and of course that will kickstart the women's hockey for 2026-27. But it's going to be interesting to see what Canada's going to do, because I feel like this is an opportunity, and I know you guys are probably thinking, why am I giving my arch nemesis advice? Pluto wouldn't. I know, Pluto wouldn't. Pluto would probably do like this, be like, your evil super genius. All that. Now's my chance, let's finish them off. We all then are cool. Like, right, finish them off. Crescent wave. Let's finish them off. But honestly, it's good to have healthy competition in the international scene. So, I kind of feel that this could be the moment where they look back, take a step back, look and think about what you need to do to improve the long haul. What do you need to do? Because it's still going to be quite a while before the likes of, say, Czechia, Finland, and Sweden can compete with the big dogs, okay? We're still a few years away from that. I'm not too sure when we get to the French Alps and wherever the hockey's going to be, I'm not too sure if we're going to be at that point where we can say that these three are definitely going to challenge for the top spot. They might be again pushing for medals, and hopefully Czechia will be in a much more stronger position to do that than they were in this cycle. Yeah, it was too soon. It was too soon for Czechia. You're about 4 years too early. Maybe next time you qualify for the next one, and maybe we'll see. Yeah. But we had a lot of evidence to back up our position while we thought Czechia was going to be a medalist. We had a lot of evidence. So yeah. Yeah. So Canada needs to really think about what you're going to do to try and compete as a medalist going forward for the next few years, because right now it doesn't look like it's going to be anyone else but US or Canada anytime soon in both the Worlds or the Olympics. For the women's side, men's side could be a completely different story. Who knows? Yeah. So I'm kind of glad that Canada's realised that now we need to make a change, because you kind of felt like it wasn't going to be rivalry series. If it wasn't going to be rivalry series, when was it going to be the point where you go, right, this can't work anymore, make the change, make the switch, pull the trigger? And clearly, now is the moment. Yeah, now is the moment. So I'm really excited to see what Canada's going to do. Obviously, when we get that news about who's going to be taking over from both Troy and Gina, we will, of course, let you know. Yeah, so it's all full steam ahead. So really good news for Canada. And just to finally end the speculation, because we've been hearing about this possibly since the end of February. Because since we got about hockey, it's all been speculation about are they or are they not going to go. So finally we can now put us to rest, we can move on, and just focus on what's going to be another exciting season of women's hockey to come in the future. Okay, we're going to leave that there. So thank you all for joining me as always. Until next time, take care.